I'm excited to be here today, and Faith is providing our music today, and Sarah will be leading our prayer today. So I believe we can go ahead and I will bring on Sarah. So I haven't made myself a spotlight here, but we'll do that. And then I'm so excited to bring Sarah Shearer on the stage and to start us off with a prayer. Sarah is one of our counselors in training. She's been in our year-long Masterful Living course for several years, and she has her own business that she runs that we'll get to hear more about at the end. And so thank you for being here, Sarah. I will give it to you.
Thank you, Angela. It's very good to be here. I enjoy coming here to pray. So I'm going to invite everyone to take a breath and place your hand on your heart. And just settle into the present moment. And thinking about gratitude, tuning into the vibration of gratitude. Grateful and thankful for this place to come together today on Sunday, to be with each other and to hear the wonderful music of Faith, our musician, and Angela, our speaker, to hear her beautiful message that she is sharing with us that we know has already lifted us up, has inspired us, and is aiding in our healing. And we offer up this time knowing that it is where we are meant to be, and everything is for our healing, everything is for our good, and we allow this time to be. And so it is. Amen.
Beautiful. Amen. Thank you so much, Sarah. Beautiful. It's so good to be in our heart. It's my favorite. Okay, so we are going to jump into the music. So I'm going to bring Faith on our virtual stage here, and excited to introduce Faith. She gets to hear her introduction many times. I wonder what that's like for you. So Faith started playing guitar when she was 10 years old and knew from then on that she wanted to have a career as a musician. How fortunate to know right then. She was really scared to sing, but her guitar teacher insisted that she sing along to the songs she was playing. She probably ended up playing and singing every Beatles song ever written. Faith studied music at DePaul University and then started her long career as a professional musician. She's been the music director for Agape International Sunday evening service for 15 years. And she's also served as the choir director for Reverend Jesse Brune's Inspire Spiritual Community Choir, Inspired Voices. As a member of the Agape International Choir, she shared the stage with legends and greats, including Earth, Wind, and Fire, David Foster, and Carl Anderson. And she has had the pleasure to perform for and share the stage with speaking icons Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, and Michael Beckwith. Faith loves singing so much that she began to help others learn to sing, forming her own coaching studio in LA, the Artist First Voice Studio. She's presently on staff at the AMDA Conservatory in LA. She calls her music artistry. She hopes that it inspires and uplifts you. So thank you, Faith. I'll give you the stage.
Thank you, Angela. I didn't really know what I was going to sing today.
Cool.
So these all came to me this morning. I was listening to the Agape service this morning, and Brother Eshmael Tete was on speaking, and he's from Ghana, mystic, deeply in nature, and this old spiritual kind of came to me. I know you know it. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved and set me free. I once was lost, but now that taught me what I fear, and grace my fears relieve. How precious 'tis that grace appeared the hour I first believed. I believed when we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've numberless days to sing God's praise. Then when we first begun, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved and set me free. I was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. I was blind, but now I see.
Thank you so much. So beautiful, so timeless, so amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, just as I finished, there was sound of the kids from downstairs outside on my lawn, just laughing and just
Aw.
having a good time. Felt so good.
Thank you. Ah, what a gift. I had this, like, I was brought back to this time. I was in somewhere in Alabama in like an old church. And I just picked, I don't know, you just did this, like, the ability for music to transport you. And it was like the church windows were open and the ceiling fans were going. And it was like, peaceful. Oh, thank you so much. Well, welcome if you've just joined us. I am going to be providing our inspirational message today. If you would like to put in the chat your intention for being here, letting us know where you are. That always uplifts the experience just by you, because our mind is the mind of God. So when we set our intention, it's all powerful. And so if you'd like to do that, I am not sure I'm going to introduce myself, but just to say that I joined the Power of Love Ministry as a participant in 2012. And I'm excited because part of my talk today references back one of the first like mind-blowing experiences I had. as I was coming into contact with people teaching A Course in Miracles, because I learned of A Course in Miracles from Janne Van Zandt, and I was at one of her retreats where it was so cool. It was such a flowy, in the moment, week-long experience. But when she set up her room, she put all of the major spiritual texts behind her. The Bible, the Quran, the Course was there, probably some Hindu texts. I'm not sure, but it was like, that was my first experience, because during the workshop, she would just let spirit move her, and she'd grab a text and she'd open it and work with it. So I remember being like, wow. And so she must have referenced it, because that was like 2000, I'm not sure, 5 or 6. And then by 2008, I was in the Peace Corps in Malawi, and I was like, had no electricity or running water. We had a lot of time to read. All the volunteers in the country, we used to share books, because we had like so much time to read, which was such a different thing, to have like free reading time. And so anyway, I got the course then. And so here I am. I found Jennifer in 2012 when I was looking for support, because when I first got the text or the book and I was doing the lessons, I remember I just really had that sense of like, am I doing this right? How would I know? I don't know. And then I'm like, I think I'd love to join with others. And then I just felt like I home run, grand slammed it, found an amazing community, and I'm still here. So a dozen years later, and I'm grateful. So I am in the ministry. I work on the community support team, a lot of the behind the scenes, to support the participants to have a pleasant experience, to be, have any issues worked out so that they can come and do their healing work, the work that's theirs to do. So it's a joy. It's a joy. And I've become like friends with Jennifer, and it's just beyond what I ever imagined. So today it feels like I'm really just bringing forth one of the classics, a classic message, which personally I can't hear enough. So I'm trusting that that's true for all beings. And so the title of my talk today is Committing to Seeing Our Loved Ones in Truth. Committing to seeing our loved ones in truth. And I'm just excited for what came through, because actually what came through, even though it's not fully worked out, is that I'm going to do a 2-part series. So I'm speaking this week as part 1, and next week will be part 2. So I'll be leaving you in all kinds of suspense. No, but part 1 is really just laying the groundwork, using a couple course quotes, laying the groundwork. And then the next part 2 will be more practical application, sharing of tools, and really just having us be together next Sunday, me sharing a bit about a few tools I use to see my loved ones in truth at times requires a little extra something sometimes. I mean, it can be as simple as a prayer, but I think we come to spiritual community to be inspired and supported and motivated, and also to to see what tools are available and which ones we're carrying around, which ones are helpful. So that's what I think is going to happen, but I'm very open to it shifting a bit. So, yeah, to begin, I'm going to start by setting up the first quote that I'm going to use. And so I am reading through the text, and, it's usually nearby, but it's somewhere. But Morgan Turner, who's also in our program, and Sarah got to visit her in Costa Rica, but Morgan Turner put together an outline for reading through the text for the year. And I bless her heart, because it's really supported me. So I have been reading little by little through the text, which is it's just such a beautiful experience to know that big things can really be accomplished in small steps. So here we are. I think we're in chapter 15 or 16 right now. And so when I came to chapter 9, I was like, bam, and I'll pull that quote up in a second. But as I read through the course, often my focus is relationship. And often it's just because I feel, I know I'm not alone. I know that most of our awakening journey is about our relationship. It's relationship to self, to spirit, to other, as we learn about the holy relationship, healing the special relationships. This is such a theme. And so my major challenges I feel in my awakening curriculum have come through my relationships. And I've shared more about that in other talks. But whenever I feel like Jesus says, here's what to do with your brother, I'm like, I'm listening, I'm underlining, I'm starring, I'm highlighting. I'm like, whoa. And I think it's like such a beautiful, powerful experience when we feel like Jesus is saying, here's what you do. And it's like, oh my God, thank you. Like, get right to the point. And so the first quote that stood out to me that would be helpful to use today, and give me just a moment, because again, as the host, I'm like got a lot of stuff open. Okay, so here it is. At least I've left you in a little suspense. At least I'm building it up here. Okay, so can we see this? We're seeing the quote. Awesome, thank you. So the quote is from chapter 9, section 3, paragraph 6. Oh, is it paused or you can see it? Wait, can somebody tell me? You can see the quote.
It's partly covered by the slideshow thing.
I know, okay. That's okay, but you could see it, right? This is what happens, and I was prepped for this. I was prepped. I learned this trick last time. Okay, if I open it in Google, it won't do that.
Say what it is, what the reference is again.
Okay, don't worry, I'm here. Now, can you see that?
I'm on my phone, I can't, but somebody
I
just tell
can
me.
see it now.
Yes.
Okay.
9:3.
Okay, don't worry, Nancy, I got you. So it's chapter 9. I'll put it in the chat. Chapter 9. Oh, buddy. These are the fun things that happen when you're trying to be professional. Okay. So it's chapter 9, section 3, paragraph 6, line 4. It's not up to you to change your brother, but merely to accept him as he is. Okay. Now, we might be like, yeah, I know. But I will share. I'm going to share a little bit about me working with this in my own life, in my relationships. Because the other thing that goes on is I am on the Enneagram, I'm a 2 that has this. So to say I am a 2, that's probably not helpful, is to say my personality expresses itself as a 2, which is the helper. So if you say to me, oh, girl, you don't even need to help, you just need to accept. Now my personality might get feel defeated a bit. Like, well, wait a minute, I got all this helping energy, so don't shut me down. But that quote is super helpful because I feel like in a couple of situations in my life, it's kept me on track. And I would like to share one. And I'm here in my parents' home, and we've come to have a belated Mother's Day celebration and nephew's birthday, and also that my father, he's like right there, but he's slowing down. He's slowing down, and this has just been a progression over the last few years. And I did a talk on my dad, which was so near and dear to my heart. And so a couple of years ago, his health, I would say, I drive a stick shift, and it kind of like downshifted to slowing down, less activity. He was put on oxygen 24/7. So that whole shift was very scary for me at first, as I feel into my inner child, the little girl who's like, I don't want my dad's life to be limited. And this was the stories. These were my interpretations that were sad. And it took a little while. And I remember he has been so courageous and brave throughout this whole experience. And he said to me, it's going to be okay. There's just going to be a few changes that are happening. So I was like, if you can be okay with it, I'm going to be okay with it. And I remember I was so clear at the onset of this that, Angela, your job is to see the light in him and not to try to change his trajectory. It's not to throw, books at him and resources, and stay in your lane, love him, have compassion, and know the light in him. And, the other day, I know, how this happens. I can remember I was just going up the stairs in my house, and I had this thought. It was like, why would I be sad if he's going home to God? He's going home to God whenever that happens. That's amazing. But so I've got that. And I got this experience I had with him the other night where we talk every night on the phone. And he had gone to the doctor. And there were some things that had come up that were concerning. So he went to the doctor. And he just ended up saying, watch your salt intake at this point. And these things have been said all along. In addition to my dad being like courageous and brave, he's also just like a warrior. And all his life, he's kind of been like, I do things my way. And we all just kind of respect that. He's the kind of guy, like, you can't buy him anything for a gift because if he needs something, he buys it. He's just like, I do things my way. So the doctor said no salt. And then, I had along the way these moments of like fantasy of being like, well, maybe I can share this and he'll have like miraculous healing. And who knows, and I'd have these moments. And yet, I think one time via email, I wrote to him, like, if you're ever interested in any of my ideas, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to like say nothing. And so just the other day, it was just that I think my mom calls me to give me little updates and let me know how things are going. So I knew he was going to go to the doctor. And then as he tells me, the doctor said, like, lower the salt, I say, oh, and Dad, what I know too is if you lower the fat, it's helpful because the liver, and that was it. He was like, I'm not talking about food anymore. And I was like, shoot, and it was really subtle. It wasn't like this big blowout. It wasn't like, but all of a sudden, so much sadness arose within me. And it was like, I was overcome with it for a moment. I had to like step away from the phone because I think what happened is I had that experience of contrast of like, it just that I had in that moment stepped my foot into the temptation puddle of telling him, like giving him some unsolicited advice. And it just set off him to be like, not going there with any, and you could tell he was just frustrated from his, who knows, from his experience. So I immediately, like that night, wrote him an apology. He accepted it. It was done. It's just that experience, what it brought up for me, it was even when I was practicing this and I shared in my practicing, it was like my throat got all tight. And it was like my interpretation of that I had contributed to his frustration. That's how I interpreted it, which was not my intention. It was not what I had agreed to already. My agreement with myself years ago was, hey, we're going to see the light in him. We're going to know the light. And we're going to just hold a compassionate space for him always. And it's just so amazing. I think it's like as we clear the mind, as we make our commitments to the truth, when we step out, like literally, if life had sound effects, it would have been like, wrong one, So I felt that and I got over it, but I was like, whoa. So when I read this quote that our job is merely to accept our brother, man, that's such a like real for me. I already know that's true, but it's this way of, I don't know, I get this like image of just relaxing back instead of being like at the front, positioning wise, energetically. It's like, just sit back, know the truth, energize that about your dad. And so, I can apply that in my life so easily to my husband, because I feel like, it appears I kind of like married my dad. So there you go. So I got another whole set of practicing around merely accepting my husband. And so now if I know that that's what I'm committing to, so I take that quote as my baseline, like baseline, home base is I am here to merely accept others for who they are. Because in truth, we know they are the light of God. So why would we actually change them? It's just we get caught up at the level of form. And like me, you could say innocently throwing out a comment, but it did something so unhelpful, and it like set something off, and I had to, it's like I made a little mess. It wasn't a big one, but I had to clean that up. I didn't have to, but I wanted to clean it up. But it's like if I stay at home base, golden. And so my work, the practice is staying at that as our home base. So the next part that I'd like to bring in is back in 2012 when I joined the ministry. I joined the Living A Course in Miracles series, where Jennifer used to have several guest teachers, and they would have a theme, and then they'd each teach, and she would do a homework class. And that was the first thing I ever experienced in the ministry. And I can remember this teaching by Regina Dawn Akers. It's classic. But at that time, I really hadn't had this awareness of choosing my thoughts, and how, like, it was probably for others so basic. For me, it was like, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Am I doing that? Am I just really thinking whatever flies into my head? And so at the time, it was really like a groundbreaking realization to me. And the way she presented the teaching is she said, okay, imagine you're going to Marshall's or TJ Maxx, or, a department store like Macy's, or somewhere where you're looking for a blouse, and you're going to go to your size section, and you're going to have a lot of options. And her teaching was how, you don't just like grab one and you have to wear it. You might be like swiping, almost like, I don't know, I never did a dating app, but whatever, this kind of concept of like, no. And whether you're coming in, you're looking for a color, you're looking for a style, you're going to be like actually discerning and swiping. And you might grab one and be like, but you're definitely not just taking one, taking it home, buying it, wearing it, done. You're discerning. And that teaching about how she was inviting us to select our thoughts carefully. And I was like, wow. And so I'm bringing this in because when we are with our loved ones, we have not only is it our opportunity to, just practice being in that acceptance role, but it's also that in the moment by moment practice. What is the thought we're like putting on? Because let's just say, and I'm actually inviting everybody to be clear in your relationships, especially with your loved ones, especially with the ones you see every day. They're the ones who have signed up to help you in your awakening. They are like the lead characters of your life movie called Heal. It's called Awaken. It's called The Atonement. And here are your lead characters. So you've got to know, like, what's your campaign, So if I'm agreeing that my blouse, the baseline I'm wearing and I'm embodying is to merely accept my brother for who he is, then now it's my work to preserve that, because I have to make sure any other thoughts I am taking on and energizing are at that frequency, or we're going to have experiences like I had, which doesn't sound like a fallout. It's not a 30-year breakout, but it's to me as it's like um it's because I lost my focus, and so that was upsetting to me. I'm like, oh shoot, I lost my focus, but I can get it back. So what I'm inviting everybody to do is just consider, and maybe we'll just take a moment now and tune within and just beginning to take this message into your own life. And maybe people have already been coming to mind, and situations have already been coming to mind for you about how you experience going off track from merely accepting. And so let's just let ourselves be aware of who are the lead characters that we work the most with this. We get to do the most practice with. And if it's not that we live with others right now, or our family is far away, we don't have as much interaction, this can be applied also to life circumstances. So a circumstance that's right in your face, like an illness or a financial burden or something that's right there that you work with, you do your mind training with. And then as we have an awareness of what is that at the forefront that's supporting our practice, that's giving us practice, do we have a sense of what our baseline decision is about how we are relating? How are we interacting with this? What's our underlying thoughts and beliefs about what our role is? What is our function? How are we to show up? And just sit with that for a moment. And so here we are. We have the baseline, if we choose, that we're accepting our brother, seeing, and beyond that, we're seeing the magnificence in them, the light in them. And then as things play out and we are then having things come at us, we've got judgments coming up, we've got opinions, they're just there, we're swimming in them, in the one mind, really, like swimming in them. They come. And Jennifer, I'm actually going to play a clip, if everything goes well, play a little clip from Jennifer, a talk she did for the counselors in the quantum counseling series. And I asked her permission, and she said I could show this little clip. And to set the clip up, she talks about working somewhere and being the volunteer coordinator, and a volunteer comes in to work, and it's Jennifer's job to get the person trained and set them up and set up their job. And so Jennifer says that as they start, doing what they're going to do, all these judgments and opinions come into Jennifer's mind. And she is kind of like, what is happening here? And she says that she pauses and she asks Spirit, where are these coming from? Why do I feel so intensely judgmental? And she did this in her own mind in the moment while she was present with the person. And then Spirit gave her, those are not your judgments, they're hers. You're picking up on her insecurity. And so then what Jennifer says is that she's like, oh, okay, then now I know what my job is. It's to begin to broadcast. I'm so glad you're here. And again, this is silently. I'm so glad you're here. You are going to be so helpful to us. She was basically sort of outpowering the false with the truth. And she talks about how pretty immediately this volunteer began to settle down. And when I listened to this talk, and I already had a sense of I was going to talk about accepting my brother, seeing the light in him, knowing the truth about them, this talk was like, Jennifer gets to this point where she's like on fire. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, I could watch this daily for that mind training, for that remembrance of how I'm committing to seeing my brother. So I'm going to play that. But first, I just wanted to, yeah, so that will kind of be just in a moment. But first, I want to refer to one more quote in the course. And that's kind of setting up my part 2 a little bit. So let's see if this works smoothly. I would love it to. Here we go. Okay. All right. Tell me if you're seeing that. If you're seeing that bigger quote. Thank you, everybody. So this is from chapter 14. And this is long, but I'm going to read it. It says, learn of his happiness, which is yours. But to accomplish this, all your dark lessons must be brought willingly to truth and joyously laid down by hands open to receive, not closed to take. Every dark lesson that you bring to him who teaches light, he will accept from you because you do not want it. And he will gladly exchange each one for the bright lesson he has learned for you. Never believe that any lesson you have learned apart from him means anything. So I picked this quote because the words dark lesson, they really stood out for me, because to me, that's like when I am energizing judgments about my loved ones, it feels very heavy and very dark. And it does feel like my forgiveness work is like this. It's like, here's this judgment. I don't want it. Take this, and I will take back the truth. It's like removing the blouse that is not the one you're supposed to be wearing. It's like, oh dear, how'd this get on? Take this off, put back on my commitment to accept my brother. So I don't know, it struck me reading it as bring the dark lessons to him. And it's like, if you want to be happy, if you want to be fulfilling your function, you bring the darkness to spirit. And that's really what Jennifer's year-long program is about. It's one of the foremost teachings is that we develop that moment by moment practice of saying, Spirit, I'm not interested in this thought. I'm not interested in this thought. And we might be able to take that a step further, because Jennifer teaches, I'm not interested in this thought. Please take this thought out of my mind so I never think it again. And then she says, and take this out of everyone's mind. And then we can go now to say, show me what the truth is. Remind me what the truth is. Help me remember the truth in this moment. So that's a little bit about what I'm going to share more about next time is when we are wearing something that doesn't work, it's upsetting us and we won't take it off. And we need more help. That's where the willingness comes in to say, I don't want to take this off. I don't want it. I want to wear this. I want to keep it. But it's creating suffering. But I'm willing to let you unzip the back. You know what I mean? I'm willing to loosen my attachment to it. And so the next part will be more about committing to our practice of bringing the dark lessons to spirit, to God, and being given the truth in its place. So I'm going to play this clip from Jennifer to close out the talk part. And again, please be patient with me. But I was like, I told Jennifer she should make this like a little clip she could share, because for me, it's super powerful. Okay, here we go. Never really play a movie within a talk, but I'm going to try it. So is this full screen? No. Okay, this is full screen. Okay. Here I go. Let's see. No. All right, hold on. I might have to do this in a different order. Okay. All right. Thank you. This is how I am at the grocery store. You know what I mean? Like, all right, talking to myself, talking to myself. All right, so sharing sound. All right, talking to myself. All right, so now I just love a thumbs up to let me know that you guys can hear this. I'm going to mute myself.
You can really help them by only seeing their perfection, only seeing their innocence, only seeing their wholeness, and not buying into what they're presenting to you. It's not easy. It is not easy to do. It is extremely challenging to do. But the thing is for you to be able to hold in your mind the picture of their perfection and know the perfection is being revealed. The perfection is being revealed. The perfection is being revealed. The wholeness is there. It's intact. The magnificence is intact, and it's being revealed now, because God is a now business. God is a now thing. God is only happening now. So you have to be able to anchor into right now, there's a perfection that is being revealed, and I recognize it. I affirm it. I see it. And sometimes you just feel like you can't. So then you say, I am willing to see it. I'm willing. And sometimes you maybe don't feel so willing. You feel like you'd like to punch them in the face, right? So then you say, I'm willing to be willing to see the perfection and the wholeness and to love them fully and completely, right? So that is so important to understand, because time after time after time, I have worked with people who have a loved one who is in a very difficult situation, where their personality is just really falling down the hole, falling down the well, really going in a destructive way. And if they can hold the light for them in a very, very concerted way, it breaks the spell. It breaks the spell. Because the truth is always going to be more powerful than the lie. And it's important to always know that if you're believing the truth. So when you fall into judgment with another person and you're judging them and you're starting to feel upset because you're judging them, just remember, you might think you're upset because they're acting like a knucklehead. That is not why you are upset. You're upset because it's your job to see their perfection and wholeness, and you can't be bothered in that moment. And you're letting yourself down, and that's why you're upset. Don't kid yourself about that. It's really important. It's really, really important. Because you know how Jesus says we're far too tolerant of mind wandering and that we don't value the truth enough. Those are two true statements. And we cannot tolerate the mind wandering and the tossing away of the truth. We have to stop doing that. I'm very adamant about that. And that's why being a spiritual counselor and this kind of work is so profoundly healing to the counselor, because you can't entertain that bullshit and do your job. And so when I would start to judge my client, I would immediately go into prayer for myself, silently, eyes open, but I am praying for myself to come back to my wholeness. Because I have to. I have to. This is no joke. I'm here, I'm here to be of service. And I cannot judge another person and be of service. I am here only to be truly helpful. What a blessing that is, that I'm here only to be truly helpful. And I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to wonder what to say or what to do or where to go or when to go. I don't have to figure any of that out. But I do have to be available. I do have to be available, and I cannot be judging and be available at the same time. We have trained ourselves to live in our intellect and ignore our heart. And this is about recalibrating to your natural state. And there's so much fear in this world that if we love, we will get hurt. And that is the biggest lie, because when we love, we cannot be hurt. It's only when we don't love that we get hurt. And we're hurting ourselves when we don't love.
Well, I just found that to be so powerful. And, that was from Jennifer's counseling program. But the way I see it is we are all, if we are here now, we are intending to be teachers of God. So what Jennifer was driving home there, I believe we can bring that to all of our relationships, and seeing like it's helpful for me to consider that, when I'm in a spiritual counseling mode, I'm making that commitment, and like someone is paying me to help them see the truth about things and to help relieve their fear. And I am saying here today that I am committing to bringing that into all of my relationships, even at another level of commitment. And so thank you for listening. This is part 1, and part 2 will be revealed to itself. And thank you for your deep listening. And I'm excited where this will take me in my own life, and knowing we're all going there together to be more attuned to our own true nature, to see the truth in others. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to just take us into a few minutes of meditation so we can sink into the vibration of this message today. So grateful, so thankful to be reminded about our function. So grateful to receive the direct messages from Spirit that, sorry, I'm hearing something. Our job is merely to accept a brother, our sister. Our job is to accept life itself. Our function is to know our wholeness, our holiness, as the one that God is so pleased with, as the one God created. So our role is multi-layered, that it is for us to accept that about ourselves, so we can more easily accept that in our brothers and sisters. To commit to seeing the perfection in every being, and even in every moment, in the way life is unfolding before us. That our happiness will be infinite, boundless, limitless, when we are willing to bring all the darkness to the light. And knowing that the key is that we no longer want it. And if we need any help, if we need support, we can ask Spirit to help us let something go. And that we commit to being the truth holder in every room that we're in every situation that we find ourselves in, that we are awake and aware that our job Our function is to merely know the truth about everything. And that is truly helpful. So with gratitude, we bring to mind that brother or sister or life experience. And we can ask in this moment that Spirit support us to release all the blocks to acceptance. And I'll share with you that with my husband, I have this memory. It's such a strong, vivid memory of when we were courting and dating, when I was just getting to know him. And it's such a simple moment, but I was walking toward him and he was walking toward me. And I knew in that moment, I felt his perfection. I felt it and I knew it, and it took my breath away. And I never forgot that moment. And that moment is such a gift because I can always remember that moment is where I saw him more clearly before all the experiences and the years of hurt feelings or different experiences that ended up blocking that. So if for you, for your loved one, if you have an experience or a memory like that of just remembering when you saw their wholeness and it was so easy. And let us commit to doing the work to removing all the blocks to that way of seeing each and every brother, sister. So thank you so much for your deep listening. And Faith, whenever you'd like to come forward, take your time and we'll move right into inspired music. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Yes, this is a song I wrote called Surrender. In this morning prayer, my soul is calling to let my fears fall away. I need to feel your love and grace. Make my choices pure. Make me your instrument. Play your song through me. I'm alive in your symphony. I'm looking for the answer. You tell me to be still and listen inside. Just listen. And I surrender to the love within. Lay down my pain and feel your grace again. As I surrender, I do remember to thank you with your vision. Let me use your eyes to see. I want to dance through your creation, to move with no hesitation. I'm looking for the answer. You tell me to be still and listen inside. Just listen. Listen inside, and I surrender to the love within. Lay down my pain and feel your grace again. As I surrender, oh, I do remember to thank you for your gift of life this day. I thank you for your gift of life this day. And you're holding me. I feel you holding me. You're holding me. Oh Lord, I feel you holding me.
Thank you. Beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you, Faith. I swear, every week I get more and more respect for you and for artists. Really, honestly, because it's more than the words, it's how you contribute to the vibration and keep it up and keep expanding our heart, keep us in our heart. Major respect, major props. Yeah.
Back at you, Angela.
Thank you. Beautiful. So we have our opportunity now for anyone who chooses to stay to go into a breakout and share in the breakout whatever speaks to you, anything that arose for you, any inspiration, what you would like to commit to and bring forward, or whatever you feel is still a block, whatever you'd like to share. And you're also welcome to join the breakout just to listen. You can pass on your turn. We just remind everyone to share the time. We use 12 minutes for each. We have 12 total minutes. So sharing that time together as best you can. So here we go. Okay, we have people leaving. And so again, because now I'm both roles. Okay, this is just taking a moment. Okay, so here we go. Okay, we did it. We made it. It's happening. I'm going to let somebody else share now. If anybody would like to share what's coming up for you today, what you'd like to share. Oh, Dove, you're muted. I was muted too, telling you you were muted. Okay.
I want to say that was a beautiful sharing of all that are here, but of course you are a guest speaker, and you asked about seeing somebody's wholeness as they truly are, and yeah, I can say that I could definitely say that about my wife Suzanne. She passed 3 years ago, but we were married for 40 years. And I recognized that she was really like the perfect angel in my life. She was there for all the things that that literally I needed, and she was always there providing it. And I guess I was there providing for her too. I see the perfection of relationships in that. It was like just going together, just like this. It was like the perfect matching. Um, and you asked what is the intention that we have coming in, and I put in the chat to see all equally. So I know I have the ability to see all equally. I don't always see all equally. So my intention is to have the willingness to see them as they truly are, not the way that my ego mind thinks that that's who they are. And that takes real, I guess the word is trust, and just letting go of my ego mind's thinking that it knows something. Someone today said there was a guy named, I think Paul Feynman or Richard Feynman, who said it's better to have a question that that can't be answered than have an answer that can't be questioned. And I guess that's what trust is about, to just know that all is well without needing, as Jesus says in the New Testament, blessed are those who have not seen and believe in me. So I guess that is really what it takes, is that blessing of knowing that all is perfect exactly the way it is. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, beautiful.
I'll share. Angela, I always enjoy when you speak. I always love the topics that you talk about, because you are different. You're very different from me, being like an Enneagram 2. I'm more of an Enneagram 1, and you just seem to see things in a different perspective. Yet I can really relate to you because we both have young daughters, and my parents are probably around the same age as yours. So your talk had me thinking a lot about my relationship with my dad, and he's not in the best of health and hasn't been for a really long time. And it really has been my practice since I got into the ministry. Probably in year 1 of Masterful Living, I didn't do such a great job, but the more I did this work, the easier it got to accept them for who they are. Because it used to be that every time I would go to visit them, it would be fights and blow-ups, and I'd leave feeling depressed and sad and angry and all these things. And that really is the work, to just accept them for who they are and not have all these judgments and regrets and feeling bad that I can't save them. Yeah, so I really related to that. And then I also liked what you said about having a baseline of how to operate with different things. So not only relationships, but like how I show up every day, like with how I do my work, how I go about my daily life. Have I chosen what that thought is going to be? And I don't think I consciously have. It's like I have a way that I operate, but I haven't really sat down and said in a really long time, like, this is who I'm going to be. So got a lot of good thought-provoking things today. So thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer, whatever. I just saw Jennifer. Angela, you're not Jennifer, you're Angela today. standing in for Jennifer. What a wonderful talk, and so many beautiful things that you talked about. And you know, it was in my early 40s that I had this awakening about my relationship with my mother, and just saw her, just accepted the way she loved me, just accepted it, whatever it looked like. And because I knew that she loved me, but sometimes it didn't feel like it because of the way that our interactions were. And I went, you know, what's more important here, for me to be right or for me to accept this love? And I did that, and it changed so much of my life to be able to do that. And I'm continually asking that question. You know, do I want to live in my head and my intellect, where my intellect will give me all kinds of reasons I should be judging somebody, and I can sit there and listen to that, or I can drop down into the wisdom of my heart. And that's what it was interesting, Angela. You said when you said that to your father about maybe you should cut back the fat, and you said you said I felt sad, and so that was your heart telling you, you know, that's not the way you. There's something off here for you, and just that idea that we can listen to the wisdom of our body. Oh, I'm getting angry. I'm getting sad. What's behind this? What is it? What is this? What am I willing to lay down, to surrender? What the idea that I have to be right, or that I have to help him, or that whatever it was in that moment. For me, in my mother, with my relationship with my mother, it was surrendering that I felt she had to love me in a certain way. It had to look a certain way for it to feel like love. And here's the most amazing thing. Once I changed my thoughts and my ideas about her and allowed her to love me, she started showing up in ways I never, ever would ever imagine. And then I started receiving that love that she was giving me, and it exploded. It became exponential. So I often think back about, you know, relationships and with other people, but as important as that relationship I have with myself, because if I don't have this relationship with myself and forgive myself and be able to trust myself and listen to my heart instead of my intellect that's going to be judging me every second, then I can't, it's very hard for me to extend that love to someone else when I'm blocking it for myself. So those are some of the thoughts that came up. Beautiful talk today.
Thank you. I got all up in my heart and all the tears, and it was like, oh, you're going for it, girl. You're getting right into it. But what other way is there to do it? That's just kind of how I roll. But thank you. I'm so glad knowing this is everyone's, knowing we're in this together. We're in this together. And, you know, almost everything I do, and recently I took a course that wasn't necessarily spiritually oriented, and I talk about it a lot, but with Allison Armstrong, and it's more about coupling and like relationship healing. But the beauty of it is all the information I was getting was all about seeing the innocence. In this case, it was like understanding men and understanding women, and seeing the innocence. It actually just keeps bringing forward the innocence. And the other quote I didn't share was about, it's funny, I can't remember, but I know it's relevant. It's the interpretation we lay upon our brother is senseless. And it's it says, let the Holy Spirit show him to you and teach you both his love and his call for love. And that's the thing. And that's what I'm like so interested in, is being able to discern, you know, in a child. It's like, okay, that's why they teach parents when they're acting way wacky. They could be hungry or exhausted or something's going on. They are not little demons. So, but if you don't bring that to the forefront, then you can respond in the moment to, you little demon, I will be bigger demon. You know, so this is the thing. So I love, you know, all the teachings that are about the innocence letting us see the innocence so that we wouldn't even want to change anything. You know, we actually just want to see the innocence that's there and the love that's there. That's with Faith. I have the same experience with, I think really with my husband, is being like, oh geez, we're not doing this. I remember early in our marriage, I'm like, we don't like sit down and talk. We're not like doing that. And he's kind of this relaxed guy. And he's like, I think we're just being ourselves. And that was like a revolutionary thing. Like, well, can we just be ourselves and that's enough? Or do we have to like keep up with something that I think is real, which is not? So, yeah. Yeah. Anybody want to say any final thing before, because the breakout's closing? So the floor is open if you'd like to add anything.
I was just gonna say that being a mom of a 6-year-old really helps you to learn to see innocence, because now I'll think of my dad or someone else at that age, and it's like, oh, it reminds you everybody was that innocent at one point. So it's
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Even when I have a meltdown, I tell my daughter, I'm like, so right now I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, sometimes my daughter will say, Mom, I think you're hungry. I think you need to
Oh
eat
my
something.
Yeah. You're kind of scary. Yeah. Ah. Okay, so here we go. Got folks coming back. Yeah. What a different experience though to be like the speaker. It's like such a different experience. It's a good one. But it's like full on. Here we come. It's Miss Kareen. Okay. I think everyone's coming back now. Here we come. All right. Well, it might be that we're all back now, and I'm just not sure about that. Yes, we are. Okay, because I wasn't seeing everyone. So welcome back, everybody. I hope the breakout was supportive to you. If you'd like to share anything in the chat about something you're inspired to declare to a group, so we can hold that for you. But thank you for staying. Thank you for staying and having those conversations, because that's awesome, because you're going to get more out of it. So thank you so much for being the choir, being the ones who are here. This is the time where we'll give a few announcements for the ministry. Okay, Paul. So Jennifer is currently in Arizona, so those 2 workshops are happening. It'd probably be a little much for you to get there right now, but the Create and Lead a Workshop is starting on Friday. You could still join everybody in Scottsdale, Arizona. Create and Lead a Workshop with Karen Russo and Jennifer Hadley. So that's coming up. I will put that in the chat, and I'm going to be a little slow on this because this is a lot for me to go back and forth. But so Create and Lead a Workshop, that is happening the end of this week. We also have our next free forgiveness letter writing workshop is next Saturday. So I'm going to put that link in the chat as well. And that's awesome, because that is going to really, kind of part of my talk next week will be the practices that we do to help us when we feel very stuck. Okay, so here's the workshop link. And we invite people to support our service. So if you would like to make a donation, a one-time or an ongoing donation, very, very appreciated. So we can continue to tithe the speakers and the musicians. So the link is now in the chat. And then just in general, if you mosey on over to the Power of Love Ministry events page, you can find everything else that's going on there. So I will bring Sarah. If you want to come forward, if you have anything you would like to share, anything you offer where people can learn more about you.
Sure. I am a spiritual counselor in training. So that means that I do counseling sessions on a love offering basis right now. And I am also a nutrition and fitness coach. I help women over 35 that have tried everything to lose fat and keep it off sustainably without giving anything up. So I will put my email address in the chat. And if you'd like to contact me for either of those offerings, I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much. And then Faith, you can go ahead and take stage now and share whatever you'd like. Oh yeah, I'm so into that, of course. And so you can do your song and share what you'd like. Thank
Well,
you.
let me share that I have a class coming up with that I've been teaching this last year, and it's an 8-week live online class with me called Find and Empower Your Feelings. And it's a mind, body, spiritual approach to opening up our spiritual, our emotional life so that we can balance it and be friends with our emotions instead of being overwhelmed by them and them using us. So that class, there's a link in there. You can actually go and look at the class, but I also have a free intro class coming up. There's 3 times you can join that if you'd like to see what it's about and get to hear a little bit about the class, and that's called Create Impact Now. And then I also put in here, you can go ahead to my website or email me at faith@raisingyouриmpact.com for voice and speaking lessons, singing lessons, and I'm also a licensed spiritual counselor as well. So it's a lot, I know. Okay. I'm going to close with a song that after this talk that we've had, that we've experienced, seems like the clouds have been lifted. We're seeing a little more clearly. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone, and there are no obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that have me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Yes, I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. Blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone, and there are no obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Yes, it's a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's a bright, yes, a bright, sunshiny day. It's a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today. Thank you so much, Faith. Okay, and Sarah, you can close us out with a prayer.
Yes,
thank
happy to do that.
you.
All right, we are grateful, we are blessed, we are accepting ourselves and accepting our brothers and one another as we are. We are perfect, whole, and complete. We are here to walk each other home, and we are basking in the love. Grateful for this time together and knowing that we go forth feeling the love and making just a small difference in the lives of ourselves and someone else today. And in gratitude, we let the benefits of this prayer be, and we share it with everyone. And so it is. Amen.
Beautiful. Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Dove. Thank you, everyone who stayed on. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
You
See
too. Bye.
you. Bye bye.